Welcome, seekers of hidden knowledge, to the mystical realm of the occult. Delve into the secrets of the universe as we journey together into the enigmatic world of ancient wisdom. Brought to you by your guide through the shadows of enlightenment, Wisdom Rocker. Uncover the mysteries, unlock the power, and journey with us as we explore the hidden depths within the pages of forgotten scrolls and ancient texts. Prepare to embark on a journey beyond the ordinary, where wisdom transcends time and knowledge is your greatest ally. Welcome to Wisdom Rocker. Prepare to awaken your inner sage. In this video, we will be uncovering the wisdom within the chapters of
The Theosophical Seal, a study for the student and the non-student, by Arthur M. Coon, with an introduction by James S. Perkins. This book is dedicated to all searchers for wisdom. 1958. Book 5. The Interlaced Triangles. Chapter 20. The Number 3. One who listens with appreciative enjoyment to the playing of a symphony must be aware of a definite plan in its structure and composition. There is first of all the underlying central theme, the overall mood which the composer intended to convey and which gives to the whole a certain color or tone. He is aware, too, that the entire composition is divided into parts or movements, each having its own particular theme. In turn, each of these parts is made up of various minor themes or voices, giving a richness of variety and color to the movement, again and again repeated. In swiftly changing combinations and keys weaving a pattern of mood or idea, the movement reaches its climax. Finally, woven and united into one dominant theme, these varied voices rise in a crescendo of beauty and harmony, giving the composition its one distinctive motif or tone, the one theme which stands out clear and triumphant in a grand finale. The Theosophical Seal is such a musical symphony, a symphony of ideas. First one note, then another and another, repeated again and again in varied combinations or patterns, now in one key and now in another, until, like an unforgettable refrain, one idea emerges, unmistakable and clear. The symbol of the intertwined triangles is a movement in this symphony, and the number 3 is its particular note or theme. One can hardly think of the triangle without associating it with the number 3. Throughout all ages, 3 has ever been held as a sacred number, associated always with some concept of deity. To the ancient philosophers, all numbers were sacred, each possessing its unique value and power. They held that numbers were also associated with letters of the alphabet as well as with geometric figures. This category of the association of letters with both numbers and geometrical forms repeats our threefold pattern. Its number reveals its power, the letter defines its thought or idea, its form gives it body or measure. We instinctively look to the ancient Hebrews, who excelled in attributing to numbers and to the letters of the alphabet with which they were associated definite philosophical or religious ideas. Yet Fabre D. Leavitt, in his masterful work The Hebraic Tongue Restored, asserts that the Hebraic sources of arcane wisdom antedated the historic Jews by many centuries, and scholars assure us that the cradle of all knowledge and culture can be traced to the early Aryans of India. The fact remains that the science of numbers and the philosophy of letters came to us through the secret mystery schools of ancient Eastern civilizations. This whole idea was brought to its highest point of perfection, both as a philosophy and as a science, by Pythagoras, renowned for his contribution to mathematics and music. He is known to have been an initiate of the mystery schools of Greece and Egypt, and probably of India, besides having a knowledge of occult science. He taught that numbers are symbols of divine realities, eternal verities which express themselves periodically in the world of objectivity. The world is built upon the power of numbers, he said. Again, he is reported as saying cosmos was produced by geometry. Following the proportion of numbers, he claimed that the doctrine of numbers had been revealed to man by the celestial deities, and that the world had been called forth out of chaos by sound or harmony, and constructed according to the principles of musical proportion. It was Pythagoras also who gave to the world the chromatic scale in music. He taught that the relationship between music and numbers extends to the distances and orbits of the heavenly bodies, and the statement music of the spheres stems from this revelation. We shall recapitulate briefly a few of the points made in this connection in the early chapters of this book. For instance, we saw that the number 1 is closely associated with the letter A, Aleph, and represents unity. In the Kabbalah, it is called the first emanation or crown kether. Its geometric figure is the point which, having no dimension, is yet the source of all forms. Aleph is considered the active principle of deity, the spirit or father. It is significant that phonetically, A is the sound of exhaling breath. and breath is universally the symbol of life. The number 2 naturally signifies duality. It is the one polarized. Obviously, it must be associated with the letter B, Beth. The Hebraic character Beth signifies house or body, hence it is the abode or vehicle for spirit. As Aleph signifies the active principle, Beth is associated with the passive or generative principle of being. It represents the universe of matter, the mother aspect of deity. The point in motion becomes the line, which must be the natural symbol of this duality. When we turn to the number 3, our exposition of its significance cannot be stated so simply. It quite naturally follows that it bears an association with the third letter of the Hebrew alphabet G or Gimel. It need hardly be repeated that the triangle is universally the symbol for the number 3. So our task is to find the relationship which must exist between the number 3, the letter G, and the triangle. It should be prefaced here that what we say in this connection must be purely speculative, and its rationality judged more by the intuition than the mind. Consider the triangle with its 3 sides. The 2 sides or lines emanating from the apex or point of unity represent duality. The third line, uniting the 2 to form the triangle, implies a union and a relationship. Enlarging upon this idea in reference to the letters, if we assume that Aleph is the spirit or active principle, and Beth the form or generative principle, Gimel must therefore be the relationship between these 2, the magnetic link which unites spirit and form. It might therefore be likened to the life force generated by the union of the 2. In this sense, Gimel and of course the number 3 may be said to be the link between the father and the mother, hence the son. Carrying this idea a little further, it may be considered the link between the personality and the soul, between spirit and matter, between the animal body and the divine spirit. Some students have associated the letter Gimel with the camel, not so much for phonetic reasons, but because that animal was, in ancient days, the carrier of life and hence the actual link between centers of civilization. This explanation may or may not be superficial. At any rate, it was considered by the ancients as the hook or link uniting 2 ideas. Referring to man, it would not be difficult to relate this letter to Manas, the principle of abstract thought, which is in a sense his link between his higher and lower principles. Manas is the third principle. Starting from above in this sense, it has been associated physically with the throat, the center of articulate speech, the center which changes sound into words and transforms power into intelligence. It is the power which lifts man from an animal to divinity, the power of the creative mind. Since Aleph is associated with breath and Beth with the mouth through which breath flows, it is but a step further to think of Gimel as associated with the throat, the organism or principle which transforms breath or sound into articulate speech. It takes but a little imagination to lift this series of relationships between the number 3 and the letter G into the divine realm, and to correlate it with the third principle or person of the Trinity, the Holy Ghost. For as the Father is spirit, Atma, the Son is life form Buddhi, so may we conceive of the Holy Ghost as creative intelligence Manas. In Masonic symbolism, the letter G is considered sacred as the sign of God, the great geometrician of the universe. None other but that exalted being who is the third aspect of God, the Holy Ghost, can fill that title, for it is he who is the divine creator, the great geometrician by whose design and measure the universe is builded. The root geo comes from the Greek gea, meaning the earth, and the geometrician is one who measures the world. It is said that the triangle is the first geometric figure, for 3 is the fewest number of straight lines that can enclose a figure. The triangle not only is the measuring gauge of the earth, but of the heavens also. In a literal sense, the triangle is the means by which vast distances, both in time and in space, may be accurately measured. From 2 points on its base, the distance of the farthest star may be ascertained. The pattern or the theme stands out clear and unmistakable. The triangle or the number 3 becomes universally the measure of man and of the universe about him. And what is infinitely more important, when 2 triangles become superimposed one upon another to form the intertwined triangles of the Theosophical Seal, they become not only the measure but also the symbol of a relationship between spirit and matter, between life and form, finally becoming the perfect sign of the union of soul with spirit, of man with God.
Thanks for watching the Wisdom Rocker. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.